bolts to the side, like, and we turned it all the way down, same thing, like, so she's weird.
Sure. So she's overreacting.
Yeah.
I might shorten a bit so you can get more physical leverage to guide her a bit more.
Yeah.
But like it's short, but you're still trying to keep it loose so she can make those mistakes.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know about anything else?
We do have one question about him.
Okay.
And we've tried. It's interesting just being here today because he's already like more overstimulated. But so we take him for a walk, and he's doing great, and everything's doing great. But if something like a bike comes up behind him,
Not all bikes.
not all bikes, like if he's surprised by something, particularly if it's behind him, he'll stay close, but then he's darting around and sitting. Like we'll be moving, and then all of a sudden he's like sitting. Butt down sitting.
Like he doesn't know what to do, so he's like I don't know what you want from me, so I'm gonna sit right in front of you.
He tucks his butt and then comes around and sits.
Yeah, it's a nervous response.
Yeah.
So, is there anywhere that's like, do you have like a bike trail by you or anything like that?
No, we took him to the forest preserve, but we do have like jewels right by us, and he gets scared of those automatic doors, so we've been like.
I think you had spoken about that before, right?
Yeah, we just use the automatic doors as a gauntlet of death.
Sure.
Yeah, so he'll do it like then. He's gotten better about it, but if it catches, like if he doesn't notice it's coming or something, like he'll do that where he just comes in front and sits.
Yeah. So then what I would do is anchor myself, and then just lightly guide him to the side, and you just keep bumping it
Until he goes to
until
the
he
side.
overrides and he goes. He's not doing anything bad.
Right.
It's just he's stressed and like he's trying to go for safety.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement from like bolting towards the door, bolting completely away. Like at least he's like still in my control. That's why I was like kind of confused.
Yeah,
We
he
just
does
don't know if we're supposed to tap him then, like.
Yes, like you're not tapping to correct him for the active hit because it's already like too late.
Yeah, that's.
But once he's landed, you're telling him like when you remote, so you would have to remote him and make him
Move to this.
Yeah, he moves in response to the power. So then he goes, this is not a place I want to put myself. So the next time a bike comes by, he's going to be he's going to be conflicted because he's like, I want to go there. The last time I went there wasn't fun.
Right.
Got it. So it's not us moving around.
Yeah, it's making him move. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what I would see what that does. If you keep seeing the moment happen, then it's like assuming, like if you hear like a rickety bike or whatever, like I'd already started shortening my leash, and so when he goes try to go ahead, I can just stop him and give a tap to prevent him from even crossing over.
Okay.
Okay. The only problem I have with that is that sometimes because people shorten it, is they keep tugging back and then it creates the pulling part of it.
Right.
If that ends up being a consistent issue, I mean, I'm not sure how it would be now, but like in Oz, it's super busy. We get bikes, skateboarders, rollerbladers, kids on strollers, kids running around, people, there's a ton of stuff going on. Like it's like 20 times, if not more, it's super busy. Okay, so that's an option. The only problem is it's probably an additional 20-minute drive for you guys because you got to go deeper in the city, and there's no expressway. So just an option.
It would be really tight. Yeah.
That being said, we're more confident taking him out in public too now. He's just, I don't know, we're more confident because he's more confident. So it's a good thing.
Okay, that's usually how it works. Have you been in any context where you expect him to be reactive and he wasn't?
A couple times, I think, when we were like we went to the forest preserve and the trail was pretty narrow, and like there was one couple who she was walking like this, like with her hands swinging, and it kind of came close enough that I, like 2 weeks ago, probably would have like jumped out of the way just to get him out of the way, but he didn't even notice it, so it was good. A couple times walking past those jewel doors, I think he did really well in comparison to like even 4 days ago.
Okay.
We've just tried to be more aware, like this is way more sound and like in the forest preserve there were more people, but this is obviously more noise, like the train, the sirens, and so we're more
Well,
is what
yeah,
I'm
it
trying to figure
has
out.
an energy about it.
Yeah.
But when like looking at him here, like he looks fairly passive. Like he's stressed at the same time. I don't see him being overly stimulated.
Right. Like
So-
he's very aware of everything, but he's not reacting to it.
Yeah. So that's good. Anything else?
No.
Okay. So what we'll do here is behaviorally we had the reactivity, right? So far that's going well. I would start pushing for situations. So like the yard, someone coming to talk to you from across the fence.
Okay.
Okay. Guests coming over, you can already start that.
Okay.
So what I would have you do is please shoot me an email saying, Jesse, you need the videos to prepare for Zoom lesson. And you don't have to wait a week for Zoom, you can schedule it whenever. And in that Zoom lesson, we're going to talk about correcting the behaviors and the reactivity of defense. I'm going to send you a video before you guys come over, so you can watch it and then get a feel for the exercise. And then, let's say like you plan for somebody to come and ring the doorbell like 30 minutes later. We would practice the exercise itself. It could even be someone who knows if you don't want to risk like what happens if he tries to charge or something. And then you started the muzzle and all that stuff, correct?
Yeah, we just forgot the muzzle too. Like we laughed at ourselves because usually we would always remember the muzzle, and now we're more comfortable with him. So we're forgetting the muzzle.
No, you're fine. But definitely for that session, if you're gonna have someone come in that's not met before,
Right,
you want the muzzle. Otherwise, use someone that he knows and is comfortable with, because it's the same. So if he's like super excited to see them, or he's being super territorial because he doesn't know them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the dog's response is to the door. It just matters that he gets stimulated and you shut it down and you create the passive state that you wanted.
So there's other people. Right now there's 5 of us. We're 2 of the 5 living in the house, and we've had situations with him in the house where it's hard to explain, but he'll see a reflection of Thomas, her brother, in the sliding glass doors. So at night, right? But he can see.
So he thinks he's outside and he's barking at like a
He thinks it's
figure
somebody
outside.
outside, so he's barking at somebody he knows as a reflection in a.
Yeah, but he doesn't. It's most likely because he can't really see it clearly.
Okay.
Because also dogs don't have. I don't know what colors they see, but they don't see the full spectrum of colors. Right. So if you add that into play with the fact that it's a reflection and it's dark and all that stuff, it makes sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, he'll be like staring at the door, barking at the door, and we're all looking, and it's like clearly Thomas in the kitchen.
Sure. Also, it's a reflection. For dogs, it's kind of like.
They have no idea. He thinks it's someone standing outside
Yeah,
the door.
like I've seen dogs bark at themselves in the mirror.
Okay.
So it's nothing too out the ordinary.
Okay.
Those things are easy to correct. The things that are trickier are the things where it's like the theory is that we calm them down. So like last time I touched them, right, there was a little bit of stress, but there was no response. We're going to do that again today. Then we're going to do the door exercise and stuff. And we're shutting down all these states of mind so that we're not needing it, that we don't see the aggression. Okay, because that's an outlet for something. Too stressed out, being territorial, not sure what to do, right?
Okay.
Always stressed out, something happens really quickly. That's where that's coming from. So once we start to settle him, then we do the door exercise, we see how he responds, and then, like, let's say you bring someone that he does never met before, you do the door exercise, you got the muzzle on, I show you a socialization exercise in order to build trust, so he learns to open up his bubble. But maybe like the person touches him, it's no big deal. Because we've just settled everything. We just shut down the nerves.
Right.
It's not on edge anymore. I have a handful of cases, and there's one, I don't know, you may have seen that close to the lake, the Instagram video.
Yeah.
Did you see her video?
Yeah, I
Did you
did.
see the second video?
I might have skimmed through it, but I did see the first.
So you saw the first one, how stressed she was.
Yeah.
The next class, it was the calmest dog. At Oz Park. At Oz Park, we were super busy.
Right.
And they're like, holy shit. Right? And I was like, because your dog just was under stress because it didn't have any formal direction. So we literally went from my facility, which was a non-realistic environment other than there were some dogs, to
Into the
Oz
real
Park.
world. Yeah.
Like that. And I was expecting to have to do stuff, and I didn't have to do anything. The dogs were great. So that's the theory of how all this stuff works.
Okay.
It doesn't always work that way.
Yep.
right? So then that's where we start shifting gears. Okay, this didn't work. We'll try it this way. Sometimes it's both things at once, and it's me educating you. Like, this is not realistic. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody to be able to run up to me like, oh, just hug them.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't want anybody doing that to me either, right? So that's
Right.
one. But some people think that way because they're so used to seeing dogs like that, and maybe all their experience for dogs were that.
Right.
So they're thinking that can
That's
be
how dogs
done.
act,
Like, oh, that's not how the world works. Have I had it happen? Yes. But it's not something that I pitch to people because it's very unlikely it's going to happen. If it does, it just happens. So, okay. Otherwise, it's all looking good. I was good to go. All right. Anything else?
No.
Coolio. So what we'll do here is we'll do a quick review. We did the turns and everything, right?
Yep.
Do a quick review of that. We're going to keep pushing obedience, right? The Zoom lesson is going to be the behavioral stuff. Okay. Once we get that Zoom lesson down, and then also, PetSmart, Petco, Home Depot, I believe Lowe's.
30-foot leash.
You'll need a 30-foot leash, yes, at some point. And you can get that whenever you're ready. But those places are dog friendly. So those are busier places. There's lights, there's sound.
That's where we took him as a puppy often.
Sure.
Before I got hurt, we were taking him out quite often, and he got good with the stores and everything with people passing him, but we hit a wall somewhere in there where he just couldn't go anymore. Yeah.
Sure. So go back to the prison.
Okay.
Because that's the only way we know where we're at.
Okay.
You know, behavior. Because you might say, like Jesse, like it's great, forest preserve in the neighborhood, here at the park, over at the beach, blah blah blah. But Home Depot, right? Now Home Depot is not realistic. But if you're looking to push as much as possible, I do stuff like that, right? Because then it lets you know, like, okay, so what he's capable of. Everybody has a plateau.
Carts were like we got a cart at Jewel and we were walking it. So like she was in front and I was behind, and it about drove him crazy.
Reactively, or just like
Reactively,
okay?
yeah.
Did you correct
Well,
it?
he wasn't barking or anything. It was just total nervousness. Like he wouldn't stop looking over his shoulder. So I corrected him if he like looked over his shoulder, and then he like stayed straight, but you could see his eyes go. Like he knew to keep his head straight, but you could see his eyes, and then he wasn't the same. He wasn't walking
He wasn't
the
relaxed.
same.
Yeah. So
he
that's
was
actually a
very
good thing to
high-strung.
work with. I would do that whenever you have the opportunity. You
Okay.
can correct the side eyes as well.
Okay.
Because it's like the point one of the behavior.
Yeah.
So anything that's related to behavior, even the thought, because you can, like, I'm sure you can look at Blue and know what he's
Oh
thinking.
yeah, definitely.
You can correct that as well.
Okay.
Okay? And when it's happening is the dog learns, I can't even think about this.
Okay.
Otherwise the correction will happen. And that's actually the best way of going about it because then they self-correct. But if it can go from thought to action, no matter how minute, a lot of dogs will gamble the action, take the correction, because it's worth it.
Right.
But when you get the thought process, and you're like, crap, I couldn't even do it.
You
You know?
couldn't even think about
Yeah,
it.
we just
Exactly.
wanted to talk to you before we did it because we didn't want to.
Screw 'em up.
Yeah, like
Screw 'em up all you
more
want.
more scared or trauma
Sure.
trauma.
Well, because you have a reference point. If you were to like put the collar on him and like put the cart around and he was barking, you corrected the barking, but then he was very panicky, right? Like you stop the barking, but then he's panicky, and you don't know how to resolve the panickiness or panic behavior.
Yeah.
Then that's where you wouldn't screw him up, but you would hit a plateau. Because stopping behaviors is simple. Just don't do that. But here you're trying to get them to not only be reactive, but also to be as passive as possible
Correct.
in the presence of the cart. And that's what the heel comes in. Because that's his reference point. You're trying to override everything with that structure. So that, like, the next thing I would do is I walk him next to the cart.
We did that the same night actually. And he was better if I was pushing the cart and he was next to me. It was worse when she was pushing the cart behind us.
Yeah.
So
That's not extraordinary there.
yeah.
Okay. So there's little things like that you can use to your advantage. It makes you better at learning how to deal with him and behave with him.
Okay.
Okay? Because I already know how to do this stuff. It's me teaching you how to do this stuff. So the more you do, the more you learn, essentially. And you're gonna make mistakes. But I would just say if you're trying to push something and it doesn't look like it's getting better or not creating some kind of shift, then I would say stop, okay? Because you're not getting anywhere. And then you let me know, and I would say, okay, that's how I go about it. Because you cannot permanently screw this guy up with what you're doing, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. He's already got to screw loose anyways. So, okay?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
All right. So what we're going to do is a quick review. We'll move on to the next thing today, which is recovery stay.
Okay.
We'll set up that Zoom so we can set the behavior stuff. And then after that, they kind of go next to each other. We'll be doing obedience stuff as we grab on the behavior stuff.
Okay.
As long as things are going smoothly, then you just keep handling that. The behavior stuff is simple because it's the things you don't like, you simply correct. Don't bark at people when they come to greet us at the fence, right? Don't bark at people when they come into the house. So it's really just stopping the behavior. Building the trust with people is the hard part because it takes repetition and it takes time. And if you only have a guest come over once a month, it's going to be a very long time if that ever happens, right? If you have someone come over 2-3 times a week, it's going to be very quick with that person.
Right.
You know, and then typically when you get one person in the social bubble and then another person, like you typically if you do so many, like the dog just kind of opens up and becomes more sociable. So not like anybody outside the breeder type of dog, but anybody who comes in the home when things have been done correctly with structure, they open up very quickly. Okay? Alrighty. Anything else? All right, so let me have you go ahead. We'll go to our usual spot over there. So I'm gonna have you just go back and forth as you're passing. I'm gonna make a couple of like just random attempts to touch him and stuff.
Okay.
You're probably gonna get a little bit nervous, tuck his butt in and stuff. So if I go to touch him and he scoots forward like this, you would just simply remote him to slow him down. Keep your path. Don't worry about like trying to verbally say anything to him. You're just so if like I'm walking, like it actually happened this morning when I was walking my dogs. My Chihuahua was scared of like CTA buses and stuff. And a big truck came by, so my Chihuahua like panicked for a moment.
Yeah.
I just kept walking, and then like as soon as he like passed the moment, like he recovered and came straight to me. So you're like his reference point. So and the tap helps stop the cycle and redirect quicker.
So do I stop tapping once he kind of comes back to me and like is focused again?
Right. So like let's say I went to touch him, and instead of like scooting up, he actually slowed down. You would just keep moving forward, tap, 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 boom, there he is, and then I just keep walking. Okay? So you'll do the heel, the turns, slow downs, speed ups.
Heel?
Yep. Go ahead and bump your number. What do you got? 32?
31.
31? Let's go up 38. I don't think you really felt that. But that's the scoot up, right? That's the nervous.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah. So actually, if you catch it, if you're scooting up, you can even do a pivot.
Right then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you pass here. I'll do it on the next one.
That's where he kind of wanted to sit in front.
Yeah. Like he slows, then he speeds up when he notices like. Yep, turn. Yep. Did you have connection earlier? Kind of feel like you don't right now.
I felt like we did when we were working with him before. I
you
can
can-
see it twitching.
Okay, give a test tap here. Tap. Oh yeah, he's feeling that.
Yeah.
Let's try 44.
Like, with the skunk, it was 70.
Heel?
I had somebody else have a skunk issue this week. Turn. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Relax your arms, keep forward. There you go. I'll let you pass this time. I'll do it again. Tap. 50. Good turn, relax your arm. You're doing a lot better though.
I'm practicing it.
Let's try again. Tap. Yeah, 50, right? 58. Relax. I'm gonna let you pass a couple times and we'll do it on the third pass by, okay? So The reason why we're going higher here is because when he goes under stress, like he's not feeling it, but then when you stop, he's feeling it. So, a couple of times. That's why, like on the skunk, you get the override, prey drive. Tap forward, go to your left, tap forward, tap, good. Good. Tap forward. Good. Tap forward. Go to your left. Tap. Good. Tap. Go to your left. Tap. Good. And try one more time. Trying to get him to hold that position without giving in. Tap forward, tap forward, tap. There he is. Good. Tap. A little bit better. I'm going to have you shorten just a wee bit. You'll shorten about a foot. There you go. Good. Turn. Tap. Good. Turn. Tap. Relax. Tap. Turn. Relax. Slow turn. Good crossover. Tap. 62. Tap. Going short a little bit more. That's good. There you go. Tap. Turn, tap. We'll do 60. That's skunk levels now. Tap. So this is similar to like the heart thing, except you're not getting, unless you maybe come in with the cart, you probably see a similar response, I would think. Turn, tap.
That's more like the bite.
Go to your left, tap. Tap, response.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you try this with the cart, and you're just moving it around him as he's walking, you can use that as a controlled context. It's the same thing as the bite.
Okay.
And me doing this, it's all the same stuff. Because since he's a nervous response, we're all vulnerable from behind. Okay. Is that when he speeds up and he's scooting over, he's trying to avoid. And we're countering the brain and going, if you try to avoid this happens, just accept it. And I'm pushing. This is not realistic. Like nobody will be sitting here trying to harass your dog by touching him, right? Tap. Good. I'm trying to get him to hold those nerves, so that when I go to pass him, it's just like a little bit is okay, but not like this complete. Like let me shift sides. One more, then we're going to come to a stop. Okay? Tap. Go ahead, slow turn. And then come to a stop. You're going to pull forward and left and keep your position. Tap. more physical. Yeah. Yeah. Up. Up or forward. Yeah.
Forward.
Yeah.
Ahead of
Yeah. 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 Right there. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yep. There it is. Up. Yeah. Good. So right there, you're countering the brain. So this is what we're trying to do, but we're trying to do it while he was moving. Okay. So this is easier because it just keeps still in one position. Whereas the other one is you're moving and he has to keep still in that position while you're moving. Makes sense?
Yep.
And you see his face here, panting, eyes are relaxed and stuff. You wipe at the face, licks his lips, goes back to open mouth. So I think I mentioned it earlier about when he plants himself here, right? That's what I was talking about. So you kept still. We didn't get perfect right here, but it's the same concept where you just do a little bit of physical pressure and use remote power to make him go, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to go over here. So you did that twice because each time or 3 times I go, you use the nope, nope, nope. And you just counted and said, nope, you're not doing that. You have to keep right here. So I think of it as like if someone were to ask you, like, are you more scared of a ghost or a serial killer? It's real, right? Same thing for the dog. The thought of this is going to potentially hurt me is like the ghost. And then there remains a serial killer because it's physical, it's real.
Right.
It makes it concrete because that's how dogs pick up things, right? It's all about physicality. So then he's thinking, all right, if I keep giving into the thought of Jesse touching me and giving nervous response, but then this happens and I don't like it.
Around you, I figured you was filming.
No, you're good, brother. There's something concrete that happens every time I give into that thought process.
Okay.
Right? And then we have to keep going up until we find a number that he goes, I just can't, right?
Right.
Then he's like, what happens if I just hold? Because I know that's going to happen. That tap's going to happen, right? That's how we start counter conditioning things. When I get dogs that are touch sensitive or get aggressive, right? So, in my opinion, you don't have one. Right? They might be different in the home because of the context. Someone knocks, he goes under stress, he becomes territorial. You walk into his house, he doesn't know who you are. Who are you?
Right.
I have rules.
So what I don't see with him that I've seen at home is like and he's done it, I think some of it is great, but like a bouncing forward and then he'll either muzzle punch or punch. Like right? I mean like
I know what you're talking about.
I mean like it's like I'm gonna herd you. Like at first we thought it was like funny and cute, and then we're like, what the heck? This is bossy.
Then he got
Yeah. So it's the way I'm interpreting that is like a mannerism of like dominance. You don't have a dominant dog. Dominance is simply someone needs to be in control. So if someone comes over and like knocks and all that happens, right, and all of a sudden he's barking at them, he's doing this, he's making himself known and going like, yo, I don't like you in my home, and he's trying to intimidate them. That bouncing is not like I gotta find the clip. There's like footage of a lion that goes up and just like boom and then just roars. Like it's just presence. Like here I am, right? Same thing with dogs. I see that happen with dogs. You know, they'll go up to another dog and just jump up and they'll bark. They're trying to make this big deal.
So if he's doing that, like, so sometimes he'll do that when I come home. Is that more of a like, give me attention, like you're not paying enough attention?
That would be demanding attention.
Yeah, like.
Because you have to read it within the context.
Right.
You know, so like a closed mouth right now would mean tension. But like that dog I mentioned earlier, Lake, at Oz Park, her mouth was closed the entire time.
But she was calm.
She was calm.
Yeah.
But I think we have problems in the home. Okay, again, 5 people, right? Like, so she interprets that greeting as like, hello, I'm so happy to see you. And I interpret it as, I think it's inappropriate because...
I don't think it's... appropriate. I agree. It's like it's an overexcitement thing, and it's not acceptable. But like, I'm just so excited to see him that I've let it go for a little while. That's why we're here. Like,
Okay, sure. It was just correct it.
yeah.
You just make change. I don't care that you give your dog affection. I just care about when you give it.
Yep.
Because you want to think whenever you touch, whenever you pet him, that's what you're reinforcing. So if you pet him right now, you're reinforcing calm, passive sleep. Right now, if you pet him and you go, "Oh my God, you're such a good boy, Blue, I love you," then you're negating yourself, right? So the reason my dogs are so chill is because that's just how I am with them. Not that they don't get excited, but that's for the dog park. That's for when we come here and let them go off leash and stuff. Like that's our time for excitement. But when we're in the house, if we're on a walk, I want you to be calm, because then it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
You know? Does this make sense?
Yep.
What I would do is try this with the cart, and you're just trying to get them to not tuck. You know, just hold those nerves, and you just play with the power. It's not the biggest deal if we get it or not. It was just something I was like, let me see how he does, because I know how nervous he is when you talk about the cart thing. So I want to give you a visual. But when you're stationary, much easier, right? So like I had a dog that was scared of vacuums, and like would pee to poop because it was so scared. And what I did was I vacuumed him. Like, it doesn't get any worse than being vacuumed.
He tries to herd the vacuum, the lawnmower, the riding lawnmower.
Because it's just don't do that.
Even if he's off leash now, though, like in our backyard, like sometimes, I don't know, squirrels. That we also live like right next to like a soccer field, so sometimes I'm out there like drinking my morning coffee or something, and they happen to come across with a lawnmower, and I haven't had him on a leash or anything, so I'm not like prepared for it. If he has the collar on, should I still correct him from across the yard?
Is he in the fenced area?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Okay.
That's the only thing I care about.
Then he won't run away.
Correct. If you end up having to go to 127 to stop him, I'm not worried about that. That's it.
Okay.
But when it comes to stuff inside the home, like you pull out the vacuum, you start with the vacuum, not on, moving it around, moving it towards him. And I don't care that he likes it. I just care that he doesn't attack
That he
it.
ignores it.
Yeah, that you would correct him. So you might see when you pull the vacuum out, he just goes upstairs or something. He removes himself. And then the next step is, okay, now vacuum on. And then, because that'll turn the brain on, because now we got a motor going. Outside doesn't matter, because he's not going to go anywhere, he's pretty in space.
Right.
Okay? And then once, like, I personally don't say anything, because I want him to think whenever that lawnmower comes out, like, it's just an assumption that you just...
Yeah, like I don't want to have to say something every single time. He should just know.
Okay.
Same thing with the cat then too. Like we do have a cat that lives upstairs, so sometimes she'll come down and stare at him from the top of the stairs, and he'll like sit there and stare back. Not always charge her, but sometimes he does charge her. Correct him for that too.
Yes, and if you're trying to get them to coexist?
Ideally, I would love him to be able to coexist with cats, because like I'm an animal
We just
lover,
didn't
so I
want him
like
to kill her before we got this far with it.
Yeah.
Muzzle.
Muzzle, and then work with him.
Yeah, muzzle and then bring the cat out. In order to, if you're trying to achieve coexistence, you have to create coexistence.
Okay.
You have to like go into those situations. That's what muzzle comes into.
The last time I was the one that did it, and he just like dragged me across the living room.
Sure.
At her.
And that could be a Zoom
complete
too.
braid on thread.
That could be a Zoom as well.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, if you, it'd be muzzle, leash, just in case if it counts and it gets her in his balls and stuff. But if that happened, most people pry the dog off the cat. I usually will call it to make the dog remove himself from the cat.
Well, and she's pretty fierce. Like our other dog was not so great with her at the beginning, but the cat got a few whacks in, and now the dog's fine.
Yeah, that's the best form of discipline is straight from the cat.
Yeah, she has her claws and everything.
Yeah. And then when you go into that stuff, I don't want you to think like it's all about just punish, because when you're trying to create harmony, it's more nuanced. But I don't care. Like I don't care if you like normal or cat.
Right.
No, cat, right? The cat is different because you want harmony.
Yeah, some level of like.
Yeah, they don't need to like
Trust.
each other, but mutual respect, trust.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you have your space, I have my space. But if you just slam him for the cat, and he's scared of the cat, that has potential issues there.
So do we reward him for good behavior then with like treats or something? Like if he.
Just perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, because then he's like, all right, when I think about doing this, I get this, and if I don't think about it, it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Like, for me, punishment is the best learning. Like, touch a hot stove, don't do it again.
Right.
Put my finger now, when I was a kid, and do it again. with driving, ran a red light, got a ticket. I
Still
really
did
try
it.
not to do it, you know. At least not on purpose. You know, I really second guess myself. Oh, I'm getting money, get this, that ticket.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, punishment is the best, in my opinion, learning tool. Positive reinforcement is great, you know, for like the simple stuff. But I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Okay.
Because he doesn't sit there and think in the moment of like, I got a treat because I'm being peaceful and content. That's not his mindset. That's not his mindset.
He's like, oh yeah, I just got a treat. Like,
Exactly. Okay. Questions about that?
no.
Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to the stay stuff, and I might do a little bit more touch stuff with him. Stay, super simple. I teach it a bit differently than I think most people think of it or use it. So I don't say sit, stay, down, stay, or play, stay. Okay. Once we get to those commands, it's all implied. Sit down, place, that's it, don't move. I only use stay when the dog's already in position. So like, let's say Blue were to be sleeping on the couch. He already knows the down command or whatever. And I decide like, you know what, I need you to not move, stay. Okay, because he's already in a down position.
Okay.
I had someone tell me once that their like trainer was having them move the dog and then send the dog. And I'm like, well, I mean, technically, yes, that's an approach, but I feel like there's a bit too much work. Okay. So here we're gonna do it from the heel position. So when you come to a stop, what is Blue supposed to do?
Sit.
Right. But what command is he in?
You.
Yes. So if you move, what should you do?
Stay with me.
Correct. So it's not a sit, it's a heel, but it's the sit is built into the command. Okay, it's a part of it.
Right.
Sit is sit, and then I walk away. He doesn't move. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here, since he's at my side, if I move and he's thinking this is heel, he's going to move with me. So human logic says you're already sitting. I can't say sit. So what I would do is say stay. Then it becomes a sit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So then it's stay. I'm going to move. You're not going to move. Questions, Mom?
No, I'm with you, I think.
It's once you get it, it's like, oh, gotcha.
No, because I've done training with another trainer 20 years ago with another dog where we got Canine Good Citizen, which was sit, stay. You know,
Correct.
Sit, stay.
Correct.
And then I move,
Yes.
right?
That's very simple, traditional obedience.
Yes.
If you say sit, stay, not the end of the world. Okay? It's just not how I teach.
But you're saying, so if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is so when he's sitting, it's actually part of the heel.
Correct. Yep.
But
Man.
then if he is sitting and we want him to stay, then we're going to omit the sit, the word sit, and just tell him to stay.
Correct.
Got it.
Right? Because he's already in the position.
Got it.
So it's just like if I'm washing the dishes, you wouldn't say like wash the dishes. I'm already
Right.
washing them. Okay, you'd like
Right.
keep washing them until they're done or whatever it is,
Makes
right?
sense.
So
Yep.
same kind of concept. Once we issue the sits and downs, it's just sit, and then we create the implication of stay. Okay.
Okay?
And it happens. People say sit, stay because old habit. I'm like, whatever. It's just how I teach.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say stay, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna pivot out with your right leg to turn in, face Blue. It should be one step, okay? And then you're gonna step back like that. We're just getting used to the motion of I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna do this, and you're not gonna follow. Okay. Now when you're in this process, right? And I use my left hand because that's where the dog is at. So if you were on your right, you would say stay with your right. So it's stay and pivot out. And as you're pivoting out, you're gonna watch Blue. If he starts to get up, you would freeze what you're doing, pull up, tap to correct him back into position, and then finish your movement.
Okay.
Okay? And then wait, and then back to his side, add a boy, heel. Now it's we move again. Okay, so
So
we're
there
teaching
is
him.
a hand signal.
Correct, yeah. So I do the hand signal. I do not worry if the dog sees it or not. So if
Okay.
Blue's over here and you go stay, I don't worry about that.
You don't like keep waving.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have to like worry about because like if you do this, I can actually see my hand. Like you can see it from my peripheral range.
Okay.
And it's just you're also trying to teach them like you want to be mindful of me. So your dog does not have to be looking at you to be mindful of you. Okay. That's all this that we're doing builds that body awareness, and it's just like okay, I heard it, but I don't need to see it. Okay. Question?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Very good.
Heel.
Okay, relax. Good.
Stay.
Okay, that's fine. Back to the side. Get the boy up. Right. So a quick little movement. So what I'm going to have you do is shorten about there, so that when you step out, have your hand up like this, or so that it's not taut, but it's just ready, just in case he gets up. You're you're already halfway there to catch them to correct them. Okay?
Stay.
Up, tap, tap. We can dip back down. So go, I forgot we went higher. 35. My bad. Good. Up, tap. Good. Heel.
Heel. Stay.
So when you do this heel, you're going to do your movement. Up, tap. So you're going to say heel, right? You're actually going to start moving again?
Yeah.
To reset the brain, to get them into the thought process of we're moving again.
It's our brain too.
That's all right. It's a lot of stuff.
And then stop and immediately do
Then,
this.
yes, then come to a stop, auto sit, stay, then the pivot out. Okay.
Heel.
Okay?
Stay.
That was left leg, and you want to do right leg. It's all right. It's a lot of stuff. Try it again. Yep, yep.
Heel. Stay.
Good.
Heel.
Good. We'll try 4 more like that one, okay? And relax.
Stay.
Up, down. Good. 3 more.
Heel. Stay.
Better. 2 more. Right. Good job. You got it. Last one. Tap. Good job. Better. Excellent. Heel, bring them back. Good. Now what you're going to do, same process. Step out in front of blue. Wait a moment. Have that hand ready. Then you're going to do a blue. You're going to walk around the front half of them. Okay, like a half moon. Come to a stop. Back to the side. Heel. Okay? Now that you're going to be moving, probably more inclined to want to move with you. So you want to make sure you're ready with that hand to catch him if he does. Okay?
Okay. Heel. Stay.
Good. Up, tap, tap. Up, tap. Up, tap. Let's go to 40.
Heel. Stay.
That was left leg. Good. Excellent. Right. Right. Good. Good. Let's try 4 more like that one.
Stay.
Tap, tap. Good.
Heel. Stay.
Tap, tap, tap. Couple more.
Heel.
Tap. Good. One more. Good. Excellent. Start bringing it back. Tap forward. Good job. Slow to stop. Do you want to try?
Sure. Good luck.
Good luck.
So this is where that left leg, right leg comes into play. That's why we do it, like to just get you used to that habit.
I got good on it with the Heel.
And you'll just start with the step in front, and then the walk back to a side without the walk around.
Stay.
Yep. Excellent. 4 more.
Heel.
Good. 2 more. Excellent. Last one.
Heel.
Stay.
All right. On the dog whisperer now. Those are all good.
Okay.
So now what you're gonna do, same process. Give that stay, give that pivot out. Wait a moment, and you're gonna do that half circle walk, okay? Being ready to pull up, to tap him, to correct him in case he moves.
Okay.
Because what we're trying to prevent here is that, because for Blue, the past 2 weeks have been tap means come to my side. So when you tap him, part of that is that wanting to come to you is because of that. So if you tap him and he comes here and sits, technically he's going to think like that's what he's supposed to do. So that's why it's important that when you tap him,
You give him a little direction.
yeah, and that you stop him away from you. So like there was one you did over there where you tapped him and he sat down and didn't get close to you. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay. If he does get close to you, I don't worry about it. I just scoot back. But ideally, I'm trying to prevent that as much as possible,
Okay.
so that when he gets tapped, he thinks, oh, I need to put that butt back down and not return to the handler.
Okay.
Okay? Whenever you're ready.
Heel. Stay.
Right. Good. Good.
Heel.
Good. 4 more. Good. Tap. Good. That's fine. That's good. Good pivot.
Stay.
Yeah. Good job. There you go. It's better. 2 more.
Stay.
Tap. Right. Good. Last one.
Heel.
Very good. Go ahead and stop with Blue here. Do a stay and step away from him.
Stay.
Alright. Up there. Good. So I have another dog that we're working with. It's a German Shorthair Pointer. Same issues. Nervous dog. And when we did this exact same thing, and I went to go touch her, and right here she kept scooting back to the owner, and eventually she tried to like really softly like bite at her sleeve. It wasn't anything, but we eventually kept promoting, and then she took it and there was no problem, right? So it kind of just shows you, like for him, the difference in terms of progressing and stuff like that. A lot of this is also because of earlier, that little thing that we did by you, where we weren't allowing him to give into that nervousness, because he's going, nervousness is not a response for things.
Right.
Okay? And that there's nothing to be nervous about. Okay? So, questions about this. So,
More our sweet dog, but like other people don't do.
they don't get to see. Sure. Everybody says that. My dog. It's funny because they're like, my dog's sweet 99% of the time, but that 1% of the time.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
And you can go back to it. Very good. So, this exercise, what do you think the next step would be from here?
Going further away.
Walking
That'd be
around
one.
the dog.
Yeah, doing a full circle. Okay. Going behind them tends to be harder. So, what you may see is heel swivel.
Yeah.
If you'll keep the butt down, I don't correct it. That'll fix itself. I always correct if they stand, lay down, or break that butt on the ground position.
So
But
if they lay down too.
correct that, correct, yes. Swiveling is like a loophole, and if you correct it, they just swivel more. And I've just learned if I leave it alone, once the dog just learns like, oh, you're just gonna walk in a circle, okay, they don't move. Okay, but that would be the next thing. So, for the most part, I do reps of 5. I'm not sure if I've gone over that with you. That's how I know how to progress. So once I saw you get a solid stay, I was like, good, 4 more of those, right? And then you went to the next step, and then we figured it out, and then I was like, all right, great, like that, 4 more of those. So I do reps of 5. So it helps like keep track of you got a 5, 4 out of 5.
Perfect reps.
Right. Before going to the next step. So then here, all those look pretty good. The main thing would be like, you're going to get movements, right? Is I don't want them to move all the way to the owner or the handlers. What I'm avoiding. Oh, I was looking over there. So yeah, the next thing would be 5 of the walk around full circle, and then I would progress to distance. Okay, so then you'd give more slack on the leash. In terms of when to incorporate this, for me, stays like the least useful command, but we teach it because it's just part of the dog repertoire. But what I would do is when you're on your walks, if you hit a red light, you can do stay. If in areas like, for instance, like I have one dog who is like more so scared of bikes. I told the owner, if you're on a trail and you see a bike coming, I'd give a stay and remove yourself from your dog and isolate her, because now you're not. Because what the dog would do is lean in against the owner.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's how she would handle the bike. So she's using the owner's security blanket.
Yeah.
So I said, nope, set her aside. So I don't really care about the stay command. I care about what it allows me to do if I have a dog that's nervous or things like that.
Right.
So, but at a stoplight, you can practice this. Let's say he poops while you're on a walk. Up, tap into a sitting position. Give the stay. Pick up the poop. Back to side. Heel.
That would have been helpful. What was it, 40 minutes ago?
Oh, really?
So
Yeah, because he was like.
my question to you on stay would be, I was taught stay means like stay until I tell you to do anything else.
Correct. That is correct.
So if I had issued right now, if he was under a stay, is it stay break or stay?
Correct. So your new command overrides your old command. So break is a release command. Okay. I only know who that is because my brother. I saw him at Lollapalooza. I gotta tell him. That's not a big artist. That's why.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know his name, but I've heard the song like several times.
Yeah. So break is a release command. Okay. So you could say break because he's in a stay. Otherwise, he shouldn't move from that position, sitting
Until
position.
if he was in a stay right now, until I say heel.
Because I would override the stay. Correct. Right. So you don't have to say stay, heel, break.
Right.
You could break from the stay, or you could go into a heel, walk for a little bit, come to a stop, and then release it. So it'd be like down, break. Sit, break, stay, break. Yeah. So new commands override the previous command. So right now he's still in that stay. So if you walked away from him, his job would be to stay put. And if he didn't, you would correct them back into position.
Okay.
Okay? So yes, that's correct in terms of that rule.
Okay.
Other questions? So yeah, you can do that like after a poop, because we haven't taught the formal sit yet. But if you up and tap him, he's going to give you that position.
Right.
Then I would say stay, right? Pick up the poop, and then maybe you're on the walk, there's a trash can, stay, throw it away, back to a side, right? So those are like ways to incorporate it without having to do a session like this. People use it very infrequently. People tend to more often use
ghost name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, it came back to me. I was like, yep.
Is weight, the temporary stay.
We do use weight at home.
Yeah, because it's like
we're bringing groceries in the front door.
Correct.
You can be at the door, but don't cross the threshold.
correct. Yeah, weight. People tend to use weight more than you use stay.
I usually only use it if it means like I'm leaving and then I'm coming back to you and then like I'm not going to release you from it, if that makes sense. Like I'm running out
Oh, sure.
to get something from the car and coming back real quick, but don't come out through the open door.
Correct.
Whereas I feel like stay is more like you can stay there and then I might call you or I might come back or whatever.
Yeah, it's a permanent don't move.
Yeah.
So if he was in a down, then or laying down, I would say stay, and then you can't break from that.
Right.
But the way I was taught it like 20 years ago was like if you put your dog in a stay and went shopping and came back, they ought to still be
That's
there.
correct. That's how it's taught.
Obedience sense.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. So now so you can start working on this, adding this to your how do you say routine.
Yep.
You can even add this to the shopping cart thing. Stay, give some distance, shorten your leash because he's gonna want to return to you. Start walking the shopping cart around him, pressing those nerves. That's what I would do with that dog. I was saying about that hated vacuum cleaners, or was scared of them. Is I started away and I would just close it on the dog, and I had the dog stationary because there was like I wanted that to override the fear, and eventually after a few messes, the dog couldn't give it the flight response, and then it was like nothing happened, and I started to vacuum the dog, and then it was like the dog didn't care anymore. So I push things to an unrealistic degree because when you get 100, when you aim for like 100, you're gonna get 80.
Right.
So I always push more than that to get as close to 100 as possible. So okay, very good. So simple exercise. Please email me.
Okay.
And then, so I remember to send you that stuff because we got more visits today. And then we can set up that Zoom as soon as possible, get that behavior stuff going, and then have a release for next time. So we can start doing recall stuff. And then we'll play by ear and see how he does.
Okay, can I ask you one more question about the door stuff? So I know this is going to sound crazy, but in his whole life, we don't have a doorbell.
That's right.
So does it matter to him that he gets no warning that somebody's just at our door?
Oh no, but he does. He barks as soon as a car drives down the driveway. Like he is that quick with it. As soon as it's a different car.
It depends, UPS or whatever, sure.
Even if they come up the front steps.
Someone coming in though.
To be honest, we rarely have, I think it's one of our problems is we're pretty, and then COVID, with her
With quarantine
and
and
COVID,
everything.
the quarantine and everything, we don't really have a whole lot of strangers or people outside of his core pack.
My aunt came over once and he hasn't met her and he barked reactive, tried to herd her out the door. I think he nipped her a few times. I wasn't home for that though.
Just invite the UPS guy.
Yeah.
Coming in for
Get a few deliveries. We're gonna get a dog trip soon.
We'll get
right?
Mr. Anderson.
That's a good idea.
He's a dog guy.
Okay. It doesn't matter because this isn't about training him. It's about training you how to handle the situation.
Okay.
The Amazon UPS guy I could care less about. We can stop the behavior, but we don't care because they're not entering. We care about people entering.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's not.
Okay.
So it's like you have a tool to use whether I teach it to you and in 2 months finally someone comes over and it's like, oh yeah, let's do that exercise with Jesse taught
She
us.
feels like she can't make any new friends because she can't.
Even my old friends can't come over.
Because how do you bring the person in the house without the dog being in the crate barking? I don't know.
Yeah, don't worry. We got a solution.
Okay.
Okay, I just did it earlier
Let's
today.
take care of it.
All right, you're going to have new friends.